Okay, now the process over the days of brush, cut and rolling while there's moisture in the pitch has been ongoing, but here we are the day before the match and we've got the pitch almost in the state of readiness. The amount of rolling that you should do varies, but between 2 to 5 hours in recreational cricket was probably fine. You might find that if you haven't got the luxury of resource of covers to control the amount of drying, you might find it gets too dry. So you might have to put a flash down of water to cool it down, seal it up. And that shouldn't take place out of a minimum of 3 days before the game. That's about right, no more than that. We want the surface to start on the day of the match dry and as firm as possible. The ideal pitch is to have a balance between bat and ball. That is what we're trying to achieve for the player's skills and development. So the next step is to give this its final cut, lowering the kite of cut now to about 4mm, about between 1/8, 3/16. So we're going to give it a final cut and a final roll just for about 10 minutes, no more than that, to finish it off, and then we'll mark up, ready for the match. Thank you, Dan. Now, it's surprising enough to show you how much grass has come off that cut. So people are often surprised just how much comes off the final cut of the pitch, but don't throw this away. Don't throw this away. We can actually use some of these clippings for a bit of camouflage in our repairs, what we call groundsman's paint. So there we have it. We're giving it its final 10-minute roll and a cut, and now we're almost ready for the match itself. Just take a closer look at this surface. We've got a nice coloured, nice even straw coloured throughout. So I'm very happy with this. The surface is very firm, very dry. You can hear that, very hard. And we just test the density with the probe. Very difficult to probe into the surface. So very pleased with that, just what we're looking for. Now, obviously we don't want too much green grass in there. Too much green grass will give emphasis to the seam bowler. Not so bad for first class cricket over 4 days. A little bit of seam movement is fine on the first day. Then as it wears progressively, the spinners come more into the game. But at recreational cricket, this is what you're looking for. A good balance between bat and ball with a bit of pace and good bounce. Players can play their shots and there's something in it for the bowler. So very, very happy with this. All we need to do now is mark up, put the stumps up. And now we're ready to mark out. And this is where you can see the importance of squaring off and laying out all these T marks, because all we need to do now is simply put a line along these key T marks, the back end of the crease, and we will know that this is exactly 66 feet from one stump to this edge on this stump. Okay, the first stage we do is to find the centre stump. That we do by measuring from the centre of the tee to 5 foot. I just make a mark on the line, and Dan is now going to come and make the centre stump hole where the line passes right through the centre of the stump. Dan? Again, using the T-pieces to ensure accuracy. If you haven't got the luxury of a good frame to mark out, we can use just these strings. Because we know everything is in line, because of what we did early in the season, we can lay out these strings and run along. Always remember to run to the back edge. So, just like this. Okay, of course, if you do have a frame like this one, please ensure that it is accurate. Make sure you measure it before, and there's always a lot of give. So these make life a lot easier because you just wrap around the stencil with the lines. Now, when we're putting the lines in, we want to use a whitewash that is clear and precise and nice and bright, with a line measurement no more than 1 inch, no less than ½ inch. For me, I preferred 3/4 of an inch because that's half the width of the stump, and that worked for me. But in all cases, we must make sure that they're all put down and measure correctly in accordance with the laws. There's two more additional markings we've got to make for most recreational cricket, and that is a mark either side, 1 foot either side of the centre stump. Again, measure to inside, always to inside edge. Okay, thank you. There's one more marking to make, and this is down the side of the pitch, 5 foot from back edge of the popping crease along the pitch. That's it. Thank you, boys. What this gives us is what we call the protected area down the pitch. And this is essentially a channel 5 foot from the popping crease, 2 foot rectangular down the pitch. And that is an area you can't go on, can't bounce a ball, you can't sweep. We leave that, and that is the protected area. That's what these markings are for. Additionally, in international cricket, we have markings straight down here, parallel ones to these return creases, and they're 17 inches from the inside edge of the return crease, and that is to signify wides. Now, they're used in international cricket. There may be a chance in recreational matches at some point you might have to put them in. But for this moment, we are essentially finished, and all we have to do now is put the stumps in. These lines are clear, white and bright, and will satisfy any umpire or official. Okay, to do this job, Dan's using a standard stump gauge, which can be attained. Outside of that, you have to get the accurate measurements, but this makes life easier. Hammer in, make sure they're in line, and Dan will adjust as he uses anybody can use a half stump for this task, but just to get the holes in line. There we go. Let's reopen that one. And essentially, always the back edge of the line should pass through the centre of the stump. We never put the stump holes in the centre of the line. They must run, the back edge must run through the back edge of the holes. One more thing we have to do, one little tip, is to just place a little bit of water into the stump holes before we put the stumps in. Now, this ensures that the stumps will remain in place and don't become loose and wobbly or cartwheel out. Bowlers won't like that because they love the stump to cartwheel down, but this is a vital tip to do just before we put the stumps up, which is our final task. Okay, our last job, to put the stumps in. Whoever does this, the groundsman, the umpire or captain, whoever, it's the symbol that the match is about to start. And there we have it. Make sure they're nice and straight. We have the bails. And essentially, job done. All we need to wait for now is the players to come out so they can perform to the best of their ability because you've performed to yours. Job done. Now, when players come onto the cricket ground, what's the first thing they do? They come into the car park and they look across the ground. And if they see a scene such as this, where presentation is absolutely pristine, they then have the confidence that they think that the pitch is going to play well as well. So presentation is 9/10 of the law. Setting out the outfield from the edge of the boundary, the players, officials, spectators get total enjoyment in the sport that they come to love. And now, just as the sun's going down, this is just the perfect opportunity to say, this is what we all work for. We have a lovely white pitch, it's even covering, and even the bounce of the ball is very good. And as we go across the square, look at this presentation. All the nice green stripes set against the white of the pitch. This is what we work for. This is ready for players to perform on. The presentation instills confidence in the players that the groundsman has pride in what he does, and therefore the pitch must be good as well. This is what we become groundsmen for.